Oh, yeah, we're back in the box. That is where we belong. Hey, the time is always fluid, but we're always here for you here on Wednesday, August 20th of the 25s. Brian Campbell, your BCX proprietor. Zoe the cat will be my side co-host, but the one you're really here for is that man with the mustache. Hey, it's Rafe Bartholomew, the New York Times bestselling author and the saltiest boxing fan around. Rafe, we got a lot to talk about today, suddenly, from Moses Itauma to you and me having a little bit fun with the idea of a White House South Lawn boxing pay-per-view. But then we just had breaking news like 2 seconds before this show. We'll get into that as well. First and foremost, Rafa, it's always a pleasure to pod with you. How in the hell is your Detroit suburban ass doing?
As Detroit suburban as it gets, man. I'm just trying to fix decks, deal with some weeds, just do all these terrible, man. Honestly, I'm not prepared for this life. I
Which
feel
life?
like
It's the life you chose. Which one you're not prepared for?
well, I'm not, I chose my wonderful wife who's going to support me when she becomes a doctor.
My wife.
But
She's
my
nice.
wife, she's wonderful. But she's from LA. I'm from New York. We didn't ask to be out here with lawns and shit. We didn't grow up with that. We don't know
Yeah.
what to do with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're learning. It's a learning experience. We're coming
Dude,
along
don't
slowly.
I know that? By the way, so tell me how dirtbag I am, okay?
As dirtbag as they get.
You know I'm a dirtbag guy from a dirtbag town living in a like commendable suburb these days, right?
I think of you as the Connecticut Chris Herron.
Yeah, without the hard
Without the
drugs,
success, yeah.
Yeah,
Or the drugs.
and the jumper. So my mailbox broke, and dude, you know me, I can't fix the thing. It's I'll break your power tools if you lend them to me. I'm that guy. My mailbox broke a year and a half ago. So as like a dirtbag factory town, like one afternoon fix, I grabbed a giant ass bucket that was like 3 feet tall, like the kind you plant plants in. I filled it with sand and I put the broken mailbox thing back in the sand, and then was like, I'll get around to that eventually. But what happened is the sand started growing weeds and flowers, and suddenly it looked like I planned that. So while, all my neighbors and my wife were clowning me, I kept that going until yesterday when I went out there and put a new mailbox in. I mean, I'm talking about concrete. I'm talking about like almost man stuff. I pulled it off, dude.
I really laying concrete.
I was ready to lay some. No, there's no piping involved. I actually did it. So it's a rare win for this guy. All right. Rare.
There's hope for me yet then. That's good to know.
Home ownership is the worst, but thank you for playing. All right, there you go. People want us to get into the breaking news, so let's do it right off the top per Mike Coppinger of Ring Magazine fame. It looks like this rumor is real. November, let me get the exact date for you so you can mark your calendar. November 15th, State Farm Arena in Atlanta, live on Netflix. We are getting an exhibition card with a main event of Jolt and Jake Paul, El Gallo de something, versus Gervonta Tank Davis.
What do you make of that, Brian? No, look, I mean, they obviously talked about this before, right? They almost had it. If Tank had clearly beaten Lamont Roach, if that fight didn't end in controversy, that fight was supposed to happen, right? That was already made, supposedly. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Well, then we're still getting it.
I mean, like, I get that Tank has been in and out of the police blotter. I get that Tank has been showing us signs that he may not want this anymore. There's been more talk about retirement than not. But, sir, Gervonta, sir, you have unfinished business with Lamont Roach Jr. Or if you wanted to push him aside and say, nah, I had enough with that guy, Shakur Stevenson, man, or Manny Pacquiao, if you want to give PBC like one of those nights you can't miss. But Jake Paul, so like in your mind, what does this decision say about Tank? Jake, he's ready for the Circus Carnival every day. He tried to get Anthony Joshua, but Cop reported that there was network issues that prevented that from happening. Maybe AJ's exclusive with DAZN. I don't know, whatever on that. But my point of this is, What does this say about Gervonta right now? Because this is a weird ass fight.
It says that Gervonta, his whole career, it confirms what we've sort of seen him do throughout his career, which is prioritize. And look, you can't really fault anyone for this in the sport of boxing, or honestly in any walk of American life, maybe modern life in this world today. But
yeah, Rocco's Modern Life. Yeah.
True. I forget what that was. Fuck that.
That's some cartoon that the kids watched. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Anyway, but like he's squandered a lot. He has a ton of talent and he squandered a lot of it. He's also accomplished a lot because he has that talent. But pursuing athletic glory has not been the main focus of his career. It's been making as much money as possible early on. And that's been true of a lot of fighters over the years. I think the difference with Tank has been, if you compare it to the way that Floyd Mayweather handled his career, that, you could say that Canelo has handled parts of the latter half of his career, that Cotto handled down the stretch of his career. It's not uncommon for fighters to reach a stage where they're like, look, I'm about money now more than I am about the ultimate competitive pursuit. Tank, it seems, has never actually. There was no early phase in Tank's career where he unified divisions, where he chased the biggest names and best fights possible. He just skipped straight to late career decision making of a superstar, and he had enough. He had enough clout and commercial success to do so, and has always sort of disappointed with some of the choices he made in his opponents. Now, is fighting Jake Paul an even more ridiculous and annoying example of that than the others, where at least he was fighting boxers? Yes, it is, but it's not that surprising. And in some ways, you could say it's the culmination of what his career has been about.
Yeah. Antonio Monzo sliding in. Why is Netflix involved with Jake Paul's clown ass? Because Jake Paul moves product in the type of one-time crossover attraction events that Netflix wants, whether that is Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson or even Serrano Taylor 3 as a result of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, although that was obviously, at least on paper, a very real fight. It just didn't play up to expectations. Rafe, damn it, man. I just feel like this is bad for boxing. I think it'd be different than Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul, which I wanted nothing to do with, but at least they're closer in weight. At least Jake Paul's pretending that he is a, cruiserweight contender, but Jake Paul's lately fighting around 200 pounds. Gervonta fights at 135. I get it's an exhibition because nobody would sanction this, but what level of exhibition is this? Are they going hard? Is this a good idea? What if Tank does get caught with something? I'm not even talking about losing because it's an exhibition, but potentially getting hurt. I don't know, man. This spells to me like Gervonta is done.
It wouldn't surprise me if you're choosing to take this fight, because it makes less sense than almost all the other Jake Paul fights that made no sense. These are two completely different sized athletes, or one athlete and one human being, one high school athlete. And they are, it doesn't make sense. There's no reason for it. Nobody actually wants it. There's no real reason. There's no justification for it even, but what are you going to do? That's what Jake Paul brings to the sport. He's going to get a lot of attention, and it's easy to make money fighting him in a fight that isn't that serious. So why not do it is probably how a lot of people look at it. I don't know. There is some downside risk for Tank here. No, I mean, just because regardless of all the size differences stuff, it doesn't matter, because if you get hurt by Jake Paul, if you get dropped by Jake Paul, if you somehow lose to Jake Paul, even in an exhibition, it may not go on your record, but more people are going to see this fake ass fight than what every other, and Tank has fought on huge stages. This is still going to be a bigger stage than anything he's been on, and it will, and that will live on the internet forever. And that is more real than actual results to a lot of fans these days, and a lot of people these days.
I mean, you can't say Jake Paul's fights are fake because he'll sue you. And I don't think they have been fake for the record. But the Mike Tyson one, while I won't call it fake, there was obviously the old Teddy Atlas silent agreement of what we're not going to do, which is Jake wasn't going to beat that man into a pulp and, knock him down into a knockout. I don't know. Does this one suffer from those same silent contract things? Is this just two rich guys wanting to make a spectacle, wanting to do a fun exhibition, and then we'll throw body punches and we'll circle around? I mean, I guess, this almost makes Logan Paul versus a retired Floyd Mayweather more interesting and more closer to real boxing for me, only because like Floyd had such a skill advantage, but he was so old and Logan had no idea how to box. And you're like, all right. And even that fight was weird too. But yet Floyd obviously could avoid pretty much getting touched at all. Like there was like that one flurry Logan had where there was nothing on his punches. Do you fear outside of a lawsuit that this is one of those like silent moments? I mean, if they call me to call it, I'm calling it. Okay. All right. We already, we know that. All right. I call fights. Okay. Right. I might call it if they call me to fight it, but
I hope you get it, Brian. But first of all, it's an exhibition. Isn't that at least it's a nicer word for it, but doesn't that essentially mean the same thing as fake in terms of sporting events? It is a non-bearing contest where the participants can choose how hard they want to compete, because it doesn't matter who wins or loses. They're doing it for fun. They're doing it so we have fun, presumably, if someone's going to have fun watching this. So exhibition, fake. I mean, it isn't a real fight because it's not a real fight. It's an exhibition. Will someone treat it like Ivan Drago? I don't know. Is there going to be it was supposed to be an exhibition moment? It's probably what Netflix is hoping for.
Interesting stuff right here, man. Very interesting stuff. I don't love it. I really don't.
Is there any? I
don't love it for PBC either. Yeah. Like even if PBC is going to get a potential large percentage to allow this to happen, they had to allow Benavidez to go to Turkey land because the offer was too good. They did get Pacquiao back, and it was somewhat of a big event, but the fight kind of, with the draw, it kind of felt like a dud. No crazy momentum there. And now you got Tank, who avoids jail time, but now we're going to do this. I feel bad for Lamont Roach. That gentleman deserved the win, and he certainly deserves a second chance to make big money and get in a big fight. Now, I hope he gets Shakur out of this. I really do for Lamont Roach.
Well, that would be nice. I guess certainly he's available for a fight. And I think a lot of top level lightweights will be looking for that fight just because they probably think they're like, this guy wasn't that good as a junior lightweight. I can beat him at 135, and we will see.
We will see about that. Well, you don't really seem all that moved. You're like, this is boxing. It's full of shit. I kind of expect this.
This was something they wanted to do, and Tank not going to jail anymore because the victim of the crimes he appeared to commit decided not to press charges against him, opens him up to do exactly what they had planned. If not for his performance against Lamont Roach and the controversy in their first fight, this is where we would be anyway, right? It sucks. What are we supposed to do about it? It's not even surprising. I'm curious, what catch weight do you think they will come up for with this thing?
I don't even think you need a catch weight for an exhibition, do you?
You don't, but maybe what weight do you think that each fighter enters the ring at?
So if we're going to guess what Gervonta's walk around weight is for a 135 fight, maybe it's 148, 150, right?
That seems about right. He's not a tall man.
Jake probably slims down a bit, but still comes in at 195, 200. Yeah, that's what it is, dude. So final question on this. If it turns out that it's a competitive affair, like they're both trying, ultimately, they're giving you what they're selling you, although it's free on Netflix if you're a subscriber, and boy, are we. Do you think Gervonta could literally avoid getting hit in a similar manner that Floyd did against a much less skilled Logan Paul?
Probably yes. I think he's so much quicker he's quicker than most guys his size who are actually boxers. He's going to be a lot quicker than, a hobbyist who picked up the sport a few years ago and happens to have a lot of social media fame. and happens to be like 6 feet flat and 200 pounds. So, and also, the only thing that I'm hoping for, the thing that I can at least get a little bit excited for until the fight happens and there does appear to be a silent agreement and I go home very disappointed, is,
and then you get sued. Then you get sued. Okay.
Sure. I guess. If Gervonta actually goes for it, because I think that it would be fun to see just combinations, pressure. We saw against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. whenever, and according to the agreement, shout out to Julio, who was recently deported. Good luck to whatever happens to you there.
Yeah.
At least they know where he is. He was just like lost in the system for a month. But we saw in the late rounds of the Chavez fight that when someone decides to throw punches at Jake Paul, he isn't very comfortable dealing with oncoming fire. He needs someone, he needs an old man to like stumble around in front of him and play target practice. Gervonta ain't that. So I guess the easy way to just get through this and get the payday is for Gervonta just to stay out the way, land some jabs, go 6-8 rounds, whatever the exhibition is going to be, and then call it a night. Everyone gets paid. Everyone goes happy except the fans. I think he has an option to also just step on him and be like, I don't care if this guy's bigger than me. I don't care if he has a little tiny bit of power. He's not going to do anything to me. He's not a real boxer. And just go in there and push him back. Be a little ass bully, scaring the shit out of a bigger man who doesn't know how to deal with someone who as fast and dynamic and can throw combinations from different angles. That's the fight I want to see.
You're saying it would look like it might look like Oscar versus Manny all over again.
Yeah,
he can't handle your speed, son.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I knew it was coming. I should have known. That's my bad.
I mean, if we could argue that, hey, Jake, hope you make a lot of money because you're about to find something out, bro.
Hey, that black guy, he hits hard.
Right?
He found out worse if he had been fighting AJ. However, I think he could be fine. This little man is fast and he will hit hard too.
I mean, come on, Tank, come on, Jake.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
Yeah, what about this shitty fight?
They say he beat up those girls. They say.
Yeah. What handsy on an airplane? Oh, that's
what hit and run. Hit and run.
What? Not here. Not now. Wow. I was not prepared for this today, even though. So I had been getting a lot of texts of people in the industry saying like, this is really close. And I'm just like, no. But what's crazy is everybody I talk to who is not a hardcore degenerate boxing fan, but follows combat sports, they're like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm into it. And I'm just like, no, enough of this. How much longer are we going to debase this already bastardized sport?
Yeah. As long as Jake Paul is active in it, I think that's exactly what we're looking to do is, play this string out, debase it as much as possible, make as much money as possible, burn it down and walk away. Maybe gets paid some insurance on the way out.
Right. Do you agree with Mr. C here? I'll pick Gervonta if he drinks breast milk and placenta smoothies like Nikita Zoo. Did you watch that Aussie early morning pay-per-view that's being called one of the worst boxing offerings in Oz history?
I sure as hell did not. But that's interesting. That's up there with Ruslan Provodnikov's raw moose liver, and of course Juan Manuel Marquez is drinking his own urine back in the day.
Oh yeah, and sitting naked with a sombrero over his dong.
There was no performance benefit to that. That was just pure dejection after, in his opinion, getting robbed on the scorecards in that third Pacquiao fight.
Yeah. People are also arguing in the chat about Mr. C's reality. You're a local New York guy. Do you agree with Brody Moret here? Wasn't Mr. C a Hot 97 DJ who slept with a
I was not aware of the latter part of that. But yeah, Mr. C goes way back. I used to have mixtapes by him.
Oh, no relation we're hearing here. This conversation between the Canadian Brody and there we go. More PP talk from Old Man Dave. I hope you're doing well right there. The Machitas also drink their own urine there in the skinhead game. Rafa, we got to recap what happened on Saturday. You into that?
Yeah, why not, man? Let's do it.
I mean, this man, I mean, where were you at 20 years old? Give us a rough snapshot of 20-year-old Rafa B.
I wasn't doing anything. I was hanging around New York in the summertime and going to college. Like, I wasn't doing anything.
Would you say your summer times in New York looked a little bit like the movie Kids?
No, I mean, maybe a little bit in high school. I knew people who were like that. My childhood friend went to her prom with one of the people who was in Kids.
Who, Telly?
No, not Leo Fitzgerald. But I hate to say it, he was the black guy in Kids. He has the big bug eyes. Unfortunately, he passed away pretty young. But he was like a well-known skater in like that whole Supreme Lower East Side world. But I wasn't. I was stupid in high school. I thought that I was so serious about basketball. I was like, I have to be pure. Like my body is a temple.
Yeah. Boy, did that change once you got on that bus to Joe Rosemary Hall. All right, yeah,
I had to defile a temple out there.
Then your body was a wonderland, and yeah, there we go. 20-year-old Moses Itauma, probably the best heavyweight prospect in multiple decades. Now you got people like Larry Merchant relaying to Steve Kim that this looks like the best heavyweight prospect since 20-year-old Mike Tyson. Either way, whether you believe it or not, Itauma walked in there against 37-year-old Dillian Whyte, who I believed still had something in the tank on a 3-fight win streak. And as soon as he landed a shot of consequence, it was a vicious, efficient, sharp, brutal set of combinations and punches from all angles to continue to hurt, then drop Whyte until Whyte tried to stand before the 10 count, wobbled into the ropes. Referee calls it off. Rafe, dude, I don't want to hear people say, yeah, well, this guy's old and shit, or yeah, he hasn't fought anybody. I mean, to some degree, he hasn't fought anybody, but Dillian Whyte ain't nobody. And what we saw for 2+ minutes is something we don't see at heavyweight too often. Please tell the people your thoughts on this fight and why we should consider this guy as legit as he looks right now.
Well, because he looks as legit. I mean, I wasn't there. I was a very young kid when all that Mike Tyson stuff was happening. But
Mike Tyson, baby.
It was all there was a side of the boxing world. Even my father was like, it's all hype. He's beating up tomato cans. He's just blasting these bums out. Lou Savarese, who's that? And there with Itauma, it seems, I mean, it's impossible to capture the imagination of fans like Mike Tyson did in the 80s. Like that, forget it. That no one's going to do that. But like, I bet that if you had serious boxing, trainers, you had Breadman Edwards and Abel Sanchez, whoever else you want to talk, Robert Garcia, Rob McCracken, all your favorite UK and USA trainers, break these fighters down. They'll be like, well, yeah, Moses Itauma is actually a much better prospect than Mike Tyson. Like, he looks incredible, like outstanding. Like the way that in those 2 minutes, for the first minute, he didn't throw his left hand anywhere except the body, right? So he's setting it up top for a whole minute and landing those clean power shots straight to the breadbasket. All right, he has, and then he throws a couple of feints that have Dillian Whyte basically like throw his hands up just like in pure panic. And when he, as soon as he touches him and follows up, the way that he when he has an opponent hurt, he's so smart and can pick his shots and these combinations to finish fighters. It is so impressive. The thing that sticks out to me most, Brian, and the time will, this happens a lot throughout the sport, especially in the heavyweight division, where there are occasionally, where everyone is kind of a huge puncher, or a lot of fighters are. Notably not some of the best like Usyk and Tyson Fury, but it's not crazy. Oh man, Samuel Peter. There's a lot. There are a lot of guys who can crack.
He could bang. Sam Peter could bang. Ask Jeremy Williams. Yep.
What was that? That Jameel McCline fight? Oh my God. Anyway, But with Itauma, first of all, he's not loading up, right? His hands are just flowing. And he seems, at least at this point, until we get more information that shows us, all right, we shouldn't have believed everything we saw through the first 15 fights or whatever. He seems to have truly naturally heavy hands on top of all of the athleticism he's showing, the quickness, the explosiveness, the angle, like all of the way that he's thinking in there and setting up his opponents to hurt them and then get them out. On top of all that, he seems to have special kind of power. The way, like you said, the first, and this is not just Dillian Whyte, this is the other bums he's fought along the way.
Yeah. Waka.
As soon as he touches them, the first shot, they are getting hurt and there to be knocked out, and he just steps in and does it. And they aren't even, and a lot of the shots that get that start the ball rolling downhill against his opponents aren't landing perfectly clean. They're glancing shots, and just these glancing shots are putting, are all of a sudden Dillian Whyte, or name whoever you want that he's fought along the way, their legs are gone, and then he can move in and just take them apart from there. There is a possibility that he might have Golovkin-like power as like relative to the division. It's hard to tell right now, but the way that fighters are reacting, as the way that Whyte was jumping at those feints, probably because he had felt that power to his midsection. It was like, I don't want any of that upstairs. All of that, there's a possibility that on top of all of the very smart things that he does in the ring, the composure, the patience, all the intangibles that he seems to have as well, he might just be gifted in that crazy way. He might have some hard ass fucking hands, man. I want to see the hand wraps. All right. It's it's only a matter of time before opponents start talking about hand wraps with him.
Yeah. Because give me that bottle.
It seems like there's something different. And also, if you look, a lot of his knockouts, they have started with our favorite, the equilibrium shot.
Yeah.
It's either he has an incredible intuition for how to land, where to find each opponent's spot, like on the temple or the crown of the head, that makes him wobbly, or he's just got such heavy hands that these glancing overhands that sometimes catch a guy trying to duck and back up or roll out, the heavyweights who try to attempt to do something like that. He catches them over the top, and all of a sudden it's like they're just, their legs are gone from there. And he's knocked out several fighters or started knocking them out, gotten them into trouble on these equilibrium shots. It's really interesting.
Slovak power, bro. Slovak power.
As a proud 1/4 Slovak, I love to see it.
I love to see it. That was his lucky punch, his good punch. Yeah. Wow. Dude, offensively, I don't think we're giving him enough credit offensively. Obviously, before we can stamp him as a champion and waiting and all that stuff, we got to see more on rounds. He's never been past 6. He went 6 twice in early decisions on the way up, but now 11 of his 13 other fights have not made it out of round 2. So, defense, adaptability, backbone, a lot of those things we're just not getting, but has a really good trainer in Ben Davison, who's still somehow just 28, that wonderkind, who has had success with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. They seem to work very well together. And now, obviously, the big question is how quickly. He's not going to beat Mike Tyson's record, so you don't have to put him in there for the Undisputed Championship next. But I'm almost 50-50 on this. Turkey wants it. He said it again after this fight, although Turkey didn't show up for this fight in Riyadh, by the way. I thought it was criminal that this fight was in Riyadh. You gotta check his marketability right now and put this in a stadium in the UK, but hopefully the next fight. The big debate is, do you go Usyk now or do you go for more experience? But I think even that question has a wide, set of names to it, because you've got his team saying right after the fight, even though in the ring, Moses was talking to the crowd saying, who do you want me to fight next? He said he's willing to fight Usyk. But his team suddenly wants Jermaine Franklin so he can get rounds. I mean, I think there's a much better potential middle ground there. I don't hate someone like Big Bang Zhang. I don't hate Ajit Kabayel even. What about this? What about you do Usyk versus Parker in a main event in a stadium in the UK and Itauma versus Kabayel in the co-main? I need somebody on that level who might on paper have a chance at beating Moses to see more of what he's all about. And if he blows out that B+ level guy in 3 rounds, then give him the freaking championship now. But when I say I'm 50-50 on the split, what I mean is if we found out tomorrow that this Usyk fight is happening next, there's a real special, unique sex factor to that fight of what we don't know, that like if the kid wants it and his promoter's willing and the skills are this good, there's half of me that says just let him have it. But there is that other half of me that wants to, the stunted growth thing, let's just let him know that he has the confidence and the stamina that he can go late. He told me in that interview, I don't even know if I could go late in the fight. Like, I got to experience this. So, Rafe, I'm basically not giving you an answer. I'm so torn because he does look that good. Unless you're telling me I can get what I want, which is like a Big Bang Jang Kabayel level next. Who should be next in your eyes? Is it irresponsible to go straight to Usyk?
Sure, it is a little bit irresponsible. If you look, the responsible way to do it, both for Usyk, for the heavyweight division, for Itauma, is to let Itauma take his time, continue building him like a project, not a project, like a prospect project.
Lick him down like a stamp. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Continue building him like a prospect. Whether that, a Jermaine Franklin fight, I think now that he's beaten Dillian Whyte in that manner, even if Dillian Whyte keeps fighting and we see actually that his punch resistance is gone, and maybe that win looks less amazing, less in retrospect than it does right now, which is possible. That's something like that. It makes sense to keep moving Itauma that way, but he can't fight a Jermaine. Once you've beaten a name like Dillian Whyte, you're sort of have already catapulted yourself into the realm of you got to fight other names, you got to fight other. You got to build your resume that's in a way that sounds more impressive than fighting Jermaine Franklin. And I guess Jermaine Franklin is on the Crawford Canelo undercard and has a chance to sort of look good and get himself a Moses Itauma fight if getting a Moses Itauma fight is something that anyone wants at this point. It's the good news for boxing fans is that whatever he does is going to be good for us. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be like his progression, whether it is a more traditional, like he needs a few more meaningful fights to get built up and get ready for a real title shot against a fighter as great as Usyk. Now, if there were crappier heavyweight title, like if it was going straight into the belt that Dubois had before he lost to Usyk, it'd be like, hey, maybe, that doesn't sound too crazy. But to fight Usyk, it's a lot to chew off. If he does it, that's great. That's great too. And I'm not going to lie, in the short term, if they say we're going for it, if Turkey's like, I don't care what the world says, I don't care what the sanctioning body says, I got all the money in the sport and I'm paying for this fight next and nothing else. I would be pumped for that. I am excited for that. A lot more excited for it than I will be if Usyk does what the responsible thing to do is in fighting Joseph Parker, who is the first mandatory up and stuff like that. But it's just like, how would you not, as a fan, just be like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like, can this guy pull it off? Because the talent is blinding enough to make you think it is possible. And there isn't there aren't too many other fighters that you would say that of at this. Like, I wouldn't really give any other heavyweight a chance against Usyk until he starts looking old in the ring in some way. And so who I would love to see step up, and part of me, I think he still has this in him, that I want a real fighting man with champions in his blood.
A beautiful guy. Yeah, I want guys. Please talk to me. Who you got?
A true fighting man. All right. To bet on himself, to gamble, a gambler, a guy with the big balls who came from even bigger balls, to do what he's done a lot of the time and just steal the narrative in the heavyweight division. I want Tyson Fury to be like, no, I'll fight you next, Moses. And because it's a risky move, of course. Tyson is not old. He did not look bad in either fight against Usyk. I don't believe that he's actually retired. And this is just if he happens to, if Fury, and also a fascinating fight, like how does someone like Itauma deal with a fighter as enormous, hard, as tall as Fury, and as durable, has been down from the biggest puncher we've seen in the last 20 years of the heavyweight division, and got up
against his old trainer, bro. There's some WWE in that too, all right?
And all of that going for it. And then if Itauma can beat Tyson Fury, then there's no questioning that he's deserving of an Usyk shot. Skip the whole line. It's a huge fight in the UK. There's and the upside for Fury, who is so canny about just boxing, about the narrative of his own life and career, as well as his legacy down the line, doing like the same way that he called out Deontay Wilder when he was a big, fat, disgusting blob, and was like, Bronze Bomber, I'm coming back. The Gypsy King is going to come back and defeat you, and then lived up to it. The same way that he did, like the way that he can call his shot and rise to the moment. If he could beat Itauma early in his career and have that on his resume, and then watch Itauma probably go on to dominate the division for half a decade, a whole decade, as it seems like he could after, in the next generation, that is a huge play for Fury. And it'd be a great fight. So that no one's talking about it. It's unlikely. It's probably completely unrealistic, but motherfucker, I would love it.
Okay, wow, I love that. I love your passion. When Tyson Fury teased yesterday that he had an announcement later that day on Twitter, and I never went back to check, I was actually kind of sneakily hoping it would be a fight with Itauma, because I think you must have mentioned to me either in our Candy Liquors DMs or over text that same theory about him stealing the thunder. There's three reasons why that's brilliant. One, that fight itself is one of the biggest fights in UK history. That thing is a 96,000 at Wembley waiting to happen, in my opinion. B, how smart would that be for Tyson? Let me get the young kid before he's experienced, where only I have the length, the weight, and the advantages to lean on him and try to like old man him. And if I win, that's probably the only way a trilogy with Usyk truly makes sense outside of Tyson Fury forcing Turkey to do it. And then C, for Itauma, that's probably the best opponent available if you were hoping that he would reach the star level by the time he fights Usyk. And we don't have a lot of time. Usyk's not going to be around forever. But if he went in there in a stadium-ass fight, a pay-per-view, an event in the UK, and he beat Big Tice, then he enters that Usyk fight not as, oh, did you hear about that 20-year-old kid? But he enters that as a star. Dude, this might be brilliant. Hold on, I gotta pause this because they're talking about your marriage in the chat. Let's hear from Mr. C. Does Rafe's wife, in addition to requesting the mustache, force him to wear a firefighter suit? I mean, it's uncalled for, Rafe, but the people want to know.
It's a little bit like that scene in The Wrestler where Mickey Rourke is there after a performance, and they're in the bar, and a girl comes up and is like, "So you like to party like a firefighter?" And then boom, there he's in the firefighter suit, just yes.
Wow. They're telling me, back to Real Boxing, that Frank Warren ain't going for it. I mean, he represents both. That's a big Frank Warren wins type of event. I don't know. I love that idea. Is there a different heavyweight other than Fury and Usyk that would top your list of this guy makes the most sense for Itauma? Some people in our chat are saying the big Uzbek, Jalalov, but no, that guy's too technical. He'll make that dude look bad potentially.
Well, also, like, Jalalov is young. He probably does not want to take that kind of risk early in his career. Even though he's like still competing in the Olympics and fighting and beating up guys as a pro. The Uzbek government has its own plans for him, and I don't think they include Moses Itauma at this stage. I hope that he has a good career and lives up to some of the promise he showed as a very athletic, tall, like 6'7" guy with power, to make that fight viable down the road. But right now it doesn't make sense. The same thing with Caballo, like that would be a great matchup. I'm afraid that isn't Caballo mandatory in one of the
Probably.
so he's not going to give up his shot, his mandatory, he's not going to risk his mandatory status in such a risky fight. I guess there's enough money out there there's enough Saudi money to make anything happen. However, that would be a tougher one to make than some. You mentioned Big Bang Zhang. I like that a lot because we've seen, Zhang has just got a huge head. He's an enormous guy. His chin is pretty well proven. He's fought other big punchers, taken big shots. It would be interesting to see and he's dangerous enough that even if he's getting lit up, he will uncork a couple left hands that make Moses think. So I like that a lot. I don't know if they can make it happen, but that makes sense. I don't feel good about saying this because he has such goodwill among the boxing fans, especially in Great Britain, but really all over the world. Derek Chisora makes a lot of sense because he has been so durable throughout his career.
Isn't that Dillian Whyte all over again, though? Isn't that the same fight all over again?
Yes, it probably. But with Chisora, has been in a form of late where you could see him just trying to basically running the Usyk playbook on Itauma and just humping all over him, making it dirty and nasty, not giving anyone any room to land any decent punches and going rounds that way. But you don't want to. But the downside of that fight, where poor Del Boy, who we all love so much and has given us so much, just gets sent to hell by this younger, really dynamic fighter. I don't love that side of it. But that's the kind of test and the name that makes sense at this point in time. We were also talking about this in the chat. If I think it's a little too late because this Whyte win puts Itauma in the conversation to be fighting top 10 heavyweights. It looks weird to step back and fight a Jermaine Franklin, but you do wish that there was a Kingpin Kevin Johnson type. I think he's still active, but like a closer to prime Kingpin Kevin Johnson, who you just know, a gatekeeper in the heavyweight division, who's going to stink it out a little bit, who's going to make your guy look a little bad, won't beat your guy if he's a good prospect, but will give him rounds. Who is that? There is no one who really knows how to handle himself like that.
Even in our chat, some people are saying Philip Ergovich, but he was just in that war with who's that on the same card the other day. I don't know who that is. No one's mentioning Anthony Josh as another, but that's more in the Tyson category. But I know what you're saying. Who is that sort of skilled, experienced guy that won't win a title, but he is that guy? But that's the point. I don't want to see a fight that's only being contested for Itauma to get rounds. I want Itauma to have to get rounds in a real fight. I guess you go Jermaine Franklin if you want rounds, but there's nothing exciting about that. It's a monster step backward.
Well, also, if Jermaine Franklin loses in September, then that whole idea is off the table. And usually, you don't know. Wallin sucks, man. He's going to get blasted. You might as well put Hellenius in there and let him lose in one round. Same exact story. Andy Ruiz, I like that idea. Ruiz does have a great chin. When was the last time he fought? When did he fight? When was the last time he fought
Luis Ortiz like two New Year's days ago, I think.
That's a long ass time.
Yeah. What about this guy? Nando wants to know.
Oh man,
Joe the Juggernaut Joyce.
Earlier before Big Bang Zhang finally broke through Joyce's impenetrable chin, before like the old Homer Simpson disease version of Joe Joyce, that would have been an incredible fight. I like to see someone who apparently can just, he had like Brandon Rios, Antonio Margarito style chin, punch resistance at the heavyweight division, just walking through punches and throwing those big lumbering shots. That would have been exciting, but now the punch resistance is gone. I think Itauma makes quick work of it.
All right, one more option for you. Nando giving it to us. Bruiserweight Bacoli.
Why not? Bacoli. I think it's an easy. I think Bacoli probably doesn't want to lose 3 in a row, but it's a name that Itauma. It makes sense. Look,
could you get Andy Ruiz? Could you get Andy Ruiz to get in shape for this?
No, you can't get Andy Ruiz to get in shape for anything.
Anything. Yeah, you're right.
There's nothing in the world.
You're right. You're right. I don't want any of the other names people want Big Baby, Jarrell Miller. No, I don't know.
Look. The point. Look, it's not exciting. Yeah. If you want the most exciting, if you want the most exciting scenario, let's all just man up and say and stop trying to be like the responsible. I know this business. You're supposed to go by. We're supposed to build up prospects. Let's just say fuck it and do the thing that we want to see, which is let him just go for it. Let him fight Usyk, because that's nothing. There is nothing more exciting than that. The Fury possibility excites me as much. But other than those two things, I think it's all food for Itauma at this point. It's weird to say that. Yeah, he's eat MCs.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right. I'm fired up though. I am excited about what this brings to the heavyweight division. I thought originally Moses was just a Turkey's toy. Now he's all of our toy. All right. So let's play with him. Okay.
Who would give him rounds? Who do you actually think would get past the 4th round with him at this point? Wow, we are gassing this motherfucker up so hard, but he looks that good, man. I don't know what to say.
I mean, I really like that Fury idea. I really do, man. I mean, look, Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker's a tough, interesting fight where the ability to box, the experience. He went in there against sluggers before in this new version of him, and he's able to avoid the big shot and score on the inside. Some people shouting out Dubois. I mean, he's coming off a big loss. That's too soon. I wouldn't hate that idea. I really wouldn't.
Look, I mean, Parker, Dubois, those are really good fights too. Because I mean, look, Moses Itauma needs to continue fighting, right? It's not his fault. It won't be his, if he is as good as he looks and he makes easy work of other elite heavyweights. That's not his fault. Like he just is that he just ends up being as good as he appears to be right now. And we'll have to wait for someone to come up who can actually challenge him. We'll see who that ends up being. Maybe it'll be Richard Torres.
God, I really don't believe in Richard Torres. Well, don't.
Look, this is the difference between an A+++ prospect and a former Olympian who's going to have a nice career.
Indeed. Let's hear from maybe.
I beat Polly. I left with his belt and his girl.
I think that needs to be played once per show until I add better stuff right here. Yeah, they want to put the plumber David Price out of retirement. Ain't gonna happen. Do you care about
Dave Allen? Maybe Dave Allen after
the White Rhino. I mean, he's got his own main event coming up. I really don't like the direction boxing's going right now. A lot of people that are against the fallout of what Turkey's done, how he has not only killed American boxing, they're now saying that it has killed UK domestic boxing. And, people on Twitter are saying that because Turkey's kind of pulled these fighters away from the promoters, now the promoters are dependent upon Turkey for these fighters to even fight. I get all that. It seems all real right now, but boxing's weird right now. It's always been weird. Hey, let's talk about that undercard quickly here. I want to go right to Filip Brgović. Did you see that round 8 against David Adelaide? It would go down as a unanimous decision win for Brgović over 10 rounds. I believe that was his first fight since losing by knockout to a improved Daniel Dubois. I'm sorry, in between he had the 10-round decision win over Joe Joyce. Correct me on that one. But in that 8th round, they both went down, and it was nuts, Rafe. What'd you take from that?
I mean, it was a great round. It was a fun fight. I thought Brgović deserved to win just because so many of those rounds, Adelaide didn't really do anything. He was just he let Brgović just unload in a lot of those rounds, blow and load. Tried to make him shoot his load, but it's credit to Brgović and new trainer Abel Sanchez, who does not mess with YouTubers. But
dude, that's a random pickup. Grabbing Abel out of retirement. That's
he looked pretty good though, because like in previous fights, like the gas tank had been one of Brgovic's biggest problems. Like he got gassed against Zhang, who was also gassed, but that was when like he would get clocked when he ran. He'd just have these lapses in rounds, and all of a sudden Zhang would almost knock him out. And so he looked good in that regard. But then there's just the other side of Brgović where he just is not good enough to put together a complete performance against even a solid heavyweight like Adelaide is. Like I think, and that just so the 8th round was great action, great fun. When Adelaide comes back after getting knocked down in that round and has that flurry in the middle of the ring where he sort of just goes blah, 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 like speed bags Brgovic's head. It was, I mean, that was an Emmanuel Stewart moment. Like you could hear him in your ear go, oh my God. But my takeaway from it is that Hrgović just is sort of destined to be this. He'll, as long as he's in this late prime or whatever, wherever he's at in his career, he'll make decent fights, but he's not, and he might challenge, he might get into a position to challenge for a title again, but I wouldn't expect him to win against any of the really, really good heavyweights. But fun fight. Shit.
I'm with you. It was fun to see, though. So Hrgović still in the mix. Hey, maybe he gets Moses. We'll find out right there. In that co-main, the meatball pocket rocket himself, Nick Ball from Liverpool, remained unbeaten defending that WBA featherweight strap, giving 20-0 Sam Goodman of Australia his first defeat. Dude, I thought this was a back and forth, pretty fun fight. Scores are weird, though. 115-113 for Ball, and then 118-110, 117-111. I still am not all in on Nick Ball being a global threat. As much as we want to talk about Inoue one day moving up and fighting him or whatever, he's fun. He gets inside. He gets hit. He'll hit you more than you'll hit him. Can you sell me on why he's more than that? Besides,
why would I? No, he's not. He doesn't look it. He doesn't look the part. Oh, and this is the thing. We sort of got a good glimpse of Nick Ball's ceiling in this fight.
Yeah,
which is that he's got this belt. If you match him well, he'll make fun. He's a fun fighter. It's fun to watch a weird little tiny buff boy like that go in there and just fight his balls off.
Thanks,
he's very mean.
Rose, for describing him that way. I appreciate that.
But like it doesn't bode well the fact that this was much closer to the 15-13 scorecard than it was any of those wide ones. I mean, he looked like Nick Ball lost the first 3 rounds at least of that fight, and then many of the others were close and fought back and forth throughout. Was I? I don't care. If I did, I didn't mean it. I think I might have been misunderstood. I've never been a Nick Ball glazer. That's one ball I do not glaze. But he's a fun fighter. I just don't think, he's not going to beat a real elite opponent. He's too easy to hit coming in. You saw this Goodman, just with a little bit of footwork, was able to control him for a lot of the fight and really shut down some of his offense. And credit to Ball for coming on strong, finding a way to sort of get his offense going and look like he was in control down the second half of that fight. But he was not impressive, and he said as much himself. And you look at, what were the impressive performances that he had coming into this? Beating up poor old, used up guys like Ronnie Rios and TJ Daheny. We've seen these guys in wars forever. Man. That's probably what they should do. Just keep finding old ass names to feed to him.
Asik Dogbe he beat too, but he did have those 2 close fights, the draw with Ray Vargas and then the split decision win over Raymond Ford.
Yes, his activity is going to keep him in fights, but when he fight, I just don't believe in the high ceiling on him.
I didn't watch the Ray Ford fight on this card. I was in the restroom and I missed his 10-round victory over Abraham Nova. It was a long dump. I got to be honest with you. Did you watch that?
No, I knew what that fight was going to look like before it happened. It seems like it sounded boring.
Yeah.
Afterwards, it still sounded boring, and this is what happened.
All right, some people here want the rematch between Ford and Ball. Yeah, there we go. That's what we saw there on that undercard of what went down in the Saudi. Let's get over to the now, Rafe. We're less than a month out from the September 13th Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford Netflix Zuffa boxing debut. And while there's a lot of talk about Zuffa boxing, I don't know how much you want to get into this. I didn't even properly prepare. I've seen a bit of the hullabaloo, but we do have someone out here supporting this chat. That's Saul from Louisville, the finest in gutter repair and all things else with the family business. What y'all think of these Zuffa boxing contracts? John Nash got a hold of a couple copies. Did you see any of John Nash's? No, he's now behind the paywalls, so I missed it now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Fill me in on the details.
I believe that there's just some deep wording in there that really could potentially handcuff the fighters, making them if they sign with the UBO, then they can be passed around to the different UBOs, that are all under the same roof. Yeah, we're gonna see where that.
What are the other UBOs under the same roof? What does that suggest? What's gonna happen? What does that mean?
I think that suggests that anybody can open up a UBO, and if you're on the Zuffa turkey side of the street, you can
I see.
you can float. You know what I mean? So interesting stuff. Hank Williams, we'll get to that undercard. Just want to bring in real quick Hank Williams the fourth. He wants to know if our recap of Michael Zarafa's brutal KO1 over an opponent this morning who did not throw any punches in return. It kind of looked like Sinisa Estrada versus that soccer mom.
Well, that stripper hits hard, I mean, we've known that for a long time.
Yeah, indeed.
No, he's gonna beat crappy domestic level competition. He's been doing that since the beginning. All right.
Yeah.
Look up his work versus the one and only Isaac Hardman. He made quick work of Hardman in 2 rounds. Like, he's the bad down under blokes. They're not getting through that stripper.
So, Saul, just to pay you back on that, and I appreciate your support for this pod. I didn't go deep on that. I heard some rumblings that it wasn't good. Do I expect Zuffa boxing contracts to be very controlling and draconian and limiting, just like UFC fighter contracts? Yes, I do. All right. Okay. So, not surprised, MFers. Also, Nando coming back to support this pod in the way that we like. Thank you, brother. Itauma and his funky fro looks a lot like the hockey bully from Slapshot Oglethorpe, which is just hilarious.
That is an incredible pull, man. Also, shout out to the viewer who noted my resemblance to me, myself, and Irene in the comments on last week's episode. That was class.
Very, very well done. And Ham Sandwich says things that people think, but that's okay. All right, the dude does look a little bit like a sack of potatoes, but shout out to that man and his new relationship. Well done, Manny X. Let's get back into what I'm talking about. So we heard the Canelo-Crawford main card announced recently, and just yesterday it became official, the entire card. Did you see it as a whole, or will I be revealing it to you, Rafe?
No, I did see it, although honestly I forgot most of it. I remember Jermaine Franklin was on there.
I'm gonna break it down.
And Bowie versus that rematch of a fight that I believe you called, Brian. Maybe and you had a nice little miniature Mannix moment yourself in that, where you're comparing Boachuk's pressure to Triple G a couple minutes before he gets knocked out by Brandon Adams.
Great moment right there. I kept him in the cage until it opened up, and Brandon Adams took that contender money and sent him to hell in a fight he was losing, by the way. So that was a very good win for him. As a whole here, Rafe, here's what I'll say about the main card and prelims here. For a fight as prestigious as this one, with big time star power, being on Netflix and coinciding with the launch of UFC's involvement in boxing and being at Allegiant Stadium, I expected more star power. I got to be honest. Maybe it's because Canelo is going to be making an absolute ass load of money. Rumors at like 250 million, although people are poo-pooing that, but it seems like it's going to be a lot. I will say though, in totality, it's hardcore strong. Like the hardcores are happy about it. There's a handful of really interesting fights that I do want to see here, but rather than them going out using Turkey's money to buy, let's say, Teofimo or Ryan Garcia for one night, it seems like they have identified fighters that'll probably be under the
Zuffa. An indecent proposal to Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, it seems like instead they're getting guys that they really want to feature in the future on Zuffa Boxing. So before I break down and get whether you care about each of the matchups as a whole, is this adequate in your eyes for a fight this big that's going to bring in so many casuals? Or did you also kind of feel like maybe not enough of that star power that we're looking for?
Oh, look, for me, I say it's definitely adequate because it looks just like a normal, completely fine boxing undercard preliminaries, actually with maybe better matched than most of those usually are. It's a lot of names that most fans don't care about, and frankly, I don't either. But I don't, like, this is Las Vegas. This is a Vegas fight crowd. They're going to be showing up for Canelo and Crawford minutes before the main event. The rest of it, they don't care about, and it's going to look shitty on TV to have Ryan Garcia fighting in front of nobody at 4 p.m. in Las Vegas. So to me, the way they set it up makes sense. It doesn't. I'm not upset at the idea of setting this up like a normal big pay-per-view is in Las Vegas, which Dan Rafe is going to be there in his seat at 12 p.m. or whenever the first bell rings, right? That's his thing. Good for him. Nobody else wants to be there with him. And thankfully, I won't have to be watching TV then.
Yeah, I will say, though, I like a lot of the matchups from just hey, that's great matchmaking. Let's see where it goes here. Hey, we'll start on the bottom. The undercard will air on YouTube. We begin with Mexican Olympian and recent turn pro, trained by Eddie Reynoso, Marco Verde versus TBD 6 rounds. You're in on that, right?
No, I don't care. I mean, sure, he's a good prospect. I don't care. I don't want to watch. I don't like to watch Olympians like blast through the first 10 like opponents of their career. It's not fun. Like, it's a little bit interesting to like, oh, this guy's talented. All right, cool. He's talented. I will still wait until he's in a real fight.
Bo Mack trained and Terrence Crawford friended. Steven Nelson will have a light heavyweight bout against Raiko Santana, 10 rounds. Okay, right?
Who's Raiko Santana?
I don't know this shit. I'm not hardcore now.
I mean, look, I'm happy that Steven Nelson is included in this. He's part of the camp. He seems like a nice guy. Shout out to Omaha, Nebraska. He is from there. I saw him on some of Terrence Crawford's YouTube videos recently that they're doing the inside, they're doing inside camp together. Sure. And he looks washed, man. He's got a big belly. He's bald. I'm sure he'll get into shape for fight night, but he's old and he looks washed.
Wasn't he at like super middleweight last time?
Yes,
now he's at 175. In the super lightweight division, Sultan Al-Mohamed will take on Martin Caraballo, 4 rounds. I don't know anything about this. Do you?
No, and I don't care. Why should I care?
All right. We're going to hear from Hank Williams IV. Raiko Santana is a Cuban who upset Lorenzo Truck Simpson, Tank, and Calvin Ford's boy. Okay. Interesting right there. There we go. Steven shoot a kid who stole his car, Nelson. Okay. I don't know about that, Brody, but if that news made it to Canada, thank you. The Turkey's new super Japanese prospect, Raito Tsutsumi, who we did see on a few cards recently, I believe, at super featherweight 6 rounds against Javier Martinez. Okay, right? I'm in. The kid looks good. He looks fun. He's fun.
That guy that fought last weekend?
No, it was recently. Was it Times Square or was it after that?
I thought didn't Turkey's Japanese guy fight on the Itauma card too?
I think it was a different Japanese. I have a fight with a other Japanese guy. We'll move up to heavyweight. Ivan Deichko versus Jermaine Franklin, 10 rounds. Do you know much about Ivan? I don't.
The name sounds familiar, but it might just be because it sounds like a classic. See, dude did fight.
Yeah, he's our editor on this pod. He's our resident hardcore. Thank you.
It is. Look, that's interesting now because Jermaine Franklin, his name keeps getting mentioned as a Moses Itauma opponent. So if he wins and looks good, then it seems like there's a decent chance he gets that fight. Also, if he loses, then that's done.
There you go. The featured prelim. We mentioned it. I love it. I called their first fight on Ring City, USA. It will be at middleweight, though. Sergey Bohachuk probably moving up for just this fight to get this fight, a rematch with Brandon Adams, 10 rounds. We remember Brandon Adams had subsequently moved up, fought Charlo that time for the title at middleweight in Houston on Showtime and went the distance. Rafe, do you think Brandon Adams still has it? We really haven't heard from him in a while, where Bohachuk has been doing some things since their first fight.
Yeah, it's tough to say because as you mentioned, and Bohachuk was ahead in that first fight before, Brandon Adams sort of turned around and caught him and was able to finish him late. And it seems like a good opportunity for Bohachuk to get revenge on this, just because the way that he was ahead in the first one, the way that he's looked very good ever since then, he's gone on. I think if you compared their careers since that night during the pandemic in Puerto Rico on Ring City, USA.
No, that was in that was in Puerto Rico.
I thought all of that was Puerto Rico, right? Did you do anything?
Dude, I would have fought you that was in Freddie Roach's parking lot, but that was the fight before when Brandon Adams knocked out Sonny Duverson. So I got
okay. Well, look, it was dumb luck that I said that then. So if you look at their careers since that point, you probably would say that Bohachuk has been more impressive, despite having, yes, he lost against Virgil Ortiz, but he's looked good. He looks like he belongs at the top of that, in the mix, in that, at the top of the 154-pound division. And he's fighting a Brandon Adams who wasn't, he was in that division previously and is just because he moved up to fight Charlo and lost, that doesn't mean that they will look like they're no longer matched well in the ring. It's a good, it makes sense. It's nice matchmaking. I think this time I do favor the Russian. I was proud of myself for calling Brandon Adams to upset him that first time, but this time I don't think. Yeah. He's actually Kazakh, isn't he?
No, he was born in Ukraine.
He was
Sergey Bohachuk. I was wrong on the timeline. So Brandon Adams had 5 straight fights at middleweight, including the win over Shane Mosley Jr., including the loss to Charlo. Then he moved back down to 54, beat Sonny Duverson, knocked out Sergey Bohachuk, won 2 more after that, and is actually coming off of a loss last November to 14-0 Andreas Katsarikis in Atlanta. It was a split decision over 10 rounds. Haven't heard much from him, but always been a big Brandon Adams fan. 36 years old now. This should be a good one right now. So Hank Williams saying it was, I had a fight with a Greek guy, and that's when you know you should retire. I mean, I guess Bohachuk should win based on the recent history, but it's a good storyline. It's a way to get Bohachuk on the card. Would we have preferred Boots or, Virgil Ortiz rematch? All that. Yes, of course. But I do feel like Bohachuk's probably going. Don't you feel like every Tom Loeffler guy probably going in the direction of Zuffa box, right?
That's a good guess. I don't know for sure. Bohachuk is the one, I think, who you would question whether or not he needs to do that, because he's gotten good fights and looked good, and probably made better money than he'll see with TKO fighting in the regular boxing world. So, but he probably still ends up going, where his bread is buttered.
And shout out to A-Rob for letting us know that Brandon Adams loss was in the OTX 154 tournament title, one of those many streams that DAZN puts out there into the world. To kick off the main card, we have super featherweight Mohamed Alakel versus John Ornelas, 10 rounds. This is the fight I know the least about on this main card, Rafe. Are you hardcore enough to have the information?
No, I assume this is just like a turkey. Like, we need one of my guys. We need a Saudi guy on this.
It kind of feels
maybe he's
like
not Saudi, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to find out. It feels like it's that guy from that side of the world that's trying to get featured here, which Turkey has done. So be it. This is the fight everyone's got circled as the banger on the card. Christian Mabili will take on Lester Martinez, 12-round super middleweights. Rafe, there's a lot of feeling here that we're looking at like a real fight, if not 50-50, a fight where Lester has a chance to do some damage here. Are you up to speed on Lester Martinez?
I've seen some highlights from the Pro Box events, and a lot of people whose opinions I really respect seem to believe that, this is going to be a really, really awesome fight. Billy, I like. It's a good super middleweight matchup with underneath Canelo, who is going to need opponents if he wins.
I mean, a big opportunity for Mabili to sort of enter the larger Canelo sweepstakes. But if you're new on Lester Martinez from Guatemala, 19-0, 16 KOs. And this certainly represents a fairly big step up in competition from that recent run he's been on. A couple of names we would recognize along the way. But I'm looking forward to that, as I am the co-main. Callum Walsh on the rise at 154. Freddie Roach in his corner has yet to really step up, has been getting somewhat of favorable matchmaking of late. I think they've been sort of killing time for the launch of Zuffa Boxing, since he will be greatly featured, given that Dana White has sort of been a co-manager / financial benefactor behind him. Dude, he's taking on Fernando Vargas Jr., 10 rounds, prospect versus prospect. Finally, I think we're going to find out for both of these guys what they're made of, and they're going to have to do it against each other. I really like this matchmaking, dude.
Yeah, this is a great showbox fight.
Is that a disrespectful comment, or what is
I don't know. I mean, like, I guess in the sense that I don't really think it's that exciting as the co-main on a huge boxing card, but at the same time, if we traditionally undercards on the biggest pay-per-view events tend to be kind of letdowns or ways, avenues to feature prospects or pet project fighters that they're trying to build up. So it all makes sense. I'm not mad at it, but do I really care? Because no, I know, like, I don't believe in Callum Walsh. I don't think he like beating Fernando Vargas Jr. doesn't really mean that much at this point in their careers. And
It
he's
doesn't
probably
mean
going to
nothing.
go. Doesn't mean nothing. No,
Fernando's 17-0 with 15 KOs. I know he hasn't fought real live bodies, but I guess that's the point. Have them fight each other and figure it out, right?
yeah, it's a good showbox main event.
All right. Hank Williams is more on your side, saying Vargas Jr. going to get stopped brutally. He's the Omar Chavez of the three Vargas bros. I will agree that he is.
Who's the Julio Jr. of the Vargas
well, that's what I'm saying.
bros?
I do agree that he's the least impressive compared to his two bros, but well, okay, we're gonna find out. Also, poolside bloke always on top of it. Did Callum laugh when Fernando Jr. fell in the snow? That's such a good joke, man. That is such a good joke. But hey, Brody's like, yo, I think he's gonna give Callum that work. I want to see for myself. I agree. I was shocked it was the co-main, but it is a real fight. We're gonna find out. And then there's these type of questions from poolside bloke. Is Callum Walsh's GF Baby Shark Tabitha Ricci of UFC strawweight in Brazil fame? # risk it all potential. Rafe, do you comment on this or you don't?
I've never seen this woman.
All right. I mean, in a word, yeah. Yeah. Well done, kid. Yeah. Yeah. All right. There we go. Okay. That's great. No, Natter, that's not the brother that beat Ryan Garcia's brother. That's the other guy who's more of a power puncher. He's aggressive. Do you know that other brother? What's his name?
Are we talking about like Steve Bunn's brothers right now?
Wait, what's Ryan Garcia's brother? That's what's his first name?
Sean, right?
Sean, yes. Hold on, let me get this right. I got to get these brothers down. Okay, Amado Vargas was the guy who knocked out Sean Garcia, and he's fun and wild. And I think the other guy, Emiliano, is the better.
He's the real one. Yeah,
he's the real one. Yeah, he's the top ranked guy. So also when we're talking about risking it all with Baby Shark, did you know that Coach Haas is her striking trainer and is in the corner at her UFC fights?
Look, then I know that she has a trainer who truly cares and who will go to war for her. If anyone dares throw a box of pizza anywhere near her in the vicinity, Coach Haas will be in that person's face, ready to fuck him up.
Dude, we need to I need to get that video so we can have on the ready of that pizza being thrown, because that is just such a great moment in the history of combat sports, to be very fair with you. So that is, for better or worse, I like a good deal of it, but like we said, a little underwhelming. We're going to see that on Netflix come September. It's right around the corner. Rafa, let's also I don't think there's much to care about in the box this weekend, so let's have a little bit of fun here. All right. I mean, really, is there anything to care about in the box this weekend? Should I call up the Dan Rayfield schedule real quick?
Probably not.
All right, this will be brief. All right, it'll be very brief. Here we go. This weekend. Wow, that was a brief conversation. Okay, we already saw. Okay, so it looks like Friday in DAZN is going to be that first MVP fight night card. Juan Paul Rivera versus Daniel Bailey in the main event. Yoelvis Gomez is on that undercard. You don't care, right?
What is the no?
It's a Jake Paul fight card.
Great.
Also Saturday on DAZN from Orlando, another one of those type of cards. Yoenis Tellez in the co-main. You don't really care. I know Yankee El Rivera. You don't care. I got it. Okay. Yeah, that's about it outside of Jack Rafferty on Saturday in England on DAZN taking on Mark Chamberlain for the British and Commonwealth junior welterweight titles. Bunch of blokes, bro.
Is that the fight that created that weird clip that we saw on Twitter yesterday with the guys wearing a mask? Somebody's wearing a full ski mask and talking about like, it's my world, mate. It's my world. How do you know it's your world? It's mine. Like,
hey, no TV on Saturday in Australia in a town called Fortitude Valley. Jake Wiley against Youssef Dib in the main event, and Sky Nicholson in the co-main. You in or only Eddie?
Well, we know Eddie's in, but I don't know. He's
better get inside on it. Yeah. Wow. I don't know if we can come back from that comment. Okay, here we go right now. All right, let's have a little fun. So we know that my employer, CBS Sports / Paramount, is now in business with the UFC for the next 7 years. And one of those big time events live on CBS will be this coming July 4th of the 26th, the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, and that will be a UFC card on the South Lawn. That is just still so freaking wild to me that it's just wow. But we thought here on Inside the Box, we would have our own kind of fun. What if that July 4th weekend, yeah, they did the skinheads, but what if Friday night, July 3rd, or whatever the day is on the calendar, we had a boxing bonanza? I think we'd probably need turkey there because somebody's got to pay for it. But if we put all of the active fighters in the world under any promotion available, and you got to draft a 4-fight pay-per-view card, 3 fights in a potential swing bout with your own announcers, your own ring announcers, your own everything, what the hell would it look like? So that's the assignment given to both Rafe and myself. Rafe, how do you want to present this here?
Well, I'll follow your lead. I mean, I'm happy to give you my whole card, lay it all out for you because there's a progression element. We can also go fight by fight. I mean, whatever makes sense.
All right, let's start off, Rafe. If we are kicking this off and you are the executive producer, you're going to need some talent. I need a ring announcer. I need a 3 to 4 person announce team. What is the South Lawn getting from Rafa Promotions?
Okay, this is probably the most basic part of my entire my plan here. And the ring announcer is I played it as safe as can be, as American as apple pie, the man probably more associated with the sport of boxing and combat sports in general than any actual athlete who participates in the sport. We need to hear it. We need Michael Buffer in there to say,
get out of
America,
here.
Let's get ready to rumble. No. You need, like, I'm sorry. That's, you can't, it's not American if it's not Michael Buffer. Who are you going to put in there?
I mean, Mike, dude, get him out of, he's parked next to Walt Disney's frozen head in the freezer. Okay.
So you want Diamante?
Maybe you can thaw him in time.
You want Ray? You want Ray?
I'm not saying you got to go Big Mo. I'm not saying you got to go Diamante or his motorcycle accident. I'm just saying, like, all right. I mean, that does give you the big fight feel. It's just played out for me. Keep going.
I agree. Like I said, it is the most basic part of my entire card. My booth is a little more interesting.
Lupe Contreras was available. All right. Shout out to Lupe.
Look, Lupe, if I'm Lupe, I ain't showing up at the White House. I don't know where they're going to take me after.
Okay.
All right.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I'm going to be getting a text in 3 seconds from that guy. Okay. Keep going.
Listen, and then my booth, again, I wanted very classic Americana, people we associate with some of the biggest fights in real history as well as in Hollywood history. So number 1, I'm my blow-by-blow man, Barry Tompkins, all right? Coming back out of that's right, all right? The man who called Balboa Drago. I want Barry Thompson, the man who called Hagler Hearns. We need him there at the White House.
How do you like it, Mr. Trump? How do you like it?
All right. Then the next, for the analyst, for me, I wanted a boxing voice. I Lampley is not on has nothing to do with my card. All right. I went basic with my ring announcer, Michael Buffer. That's it. I want no parts of these other classic names in my booth. So I want but someone who has a lot of gravitas, someone who older fans will look back. I remember when he used to call fights on ESPN and USA back in the day. A man with a great mustache and a great voice. He could sing it. He could belt out a show. He could belt out a few standards for you. Knows this game as well as anyone who calls this game. Yes. I want Al Bernstein, and I want him. And if I can, I'm the producer. I'm going to say, Al, just do me one favor. Grow out I want your old mustache back, all right? Wax it out. I want it all the way out to here like the old days. Because I want an old-timey feel. This is about American history. I want some weird facial hair. That's what I need from my man Al Bernstein. And he's as good. He's still like, and that old Showtime, like him and Barry Thompson, they can still bring it. They still have their heat.
Yes.
And well, you'll like who I have penciled in for the third man in the booth. We've already seen him do an excellent job on several PBC main events as the third man in the booth, and he knows Al and Barry a little bit. He's been around the block with them a few times. He's from Avon, Connecticut, not Glenn Feldman, but Brian Campbell. I want the BCX inside that booth.
Let's go. I accept. This is awesome. This is great. Okay. Fantastic. I love it so far. I love it. All right. Yes. Tell him, Hank. Tell him about it. Let's go. Okay.
You
There you
already
go.
know he's the best.
Hey, woo. Okay. All right. You want to keep going or what?
Yeah,
What do you got?
I'll just knock this out real quick. So my amuse-bouche, my 4-rounder. Now, I'm not sure if we want to use this as a swing bout in case there's an early knockout, or if we want to do it in the old HBO pay-per-view days where those Don King cards, where there'd just be a stupid 4-rounder at the beginning of the fight. I'm sort of where I have this penciled in.
Hold on. I got to interrupt you.
Hmm.
If you don't like this card, turn off your station. What network? What network?
I mean, I'm thinking CBS. It got to be, right? Because
Wow. So
they
pay-per-view.
already have a whole. They're gonna have their truck set up there. They're gonna
Okay.
need to be there 2 nights in a row. So that's where I would have it.
A lot of Wealth Network fans were hoping. Okay, I know this game. All right, you gotta listen to me.
But so my 4-rounder, I wanted something that represents the circus nature of the sport, very American, very of the moment, but also a little bit of a throwback. You could argue he's the face of American boxing today, which makes me quite sad because his name is Jake Paul, the problem child, in a 4-rounder versus Butterbean, Eric, whatever his name is. All right.
God,
I want
what is this disgustingness. Or was Kid
this
Rock
is America,
the best
motherfucker.
referee?
Yes, disgustingness is part of the show. All right. We want disgusting here in America. All right. 250 years of disgusting. And it culminates in Jake Paul versus Butterbean in 4 rounds. I'm sorry. This is how it goes.
Dude, Butterbean's like 60 years old. I know
That's
he's
a
trying
perfect Jake Paul opponent. Stop lying.
Wow.
All right.
I mean, at least go Jake Paul and Ngannou, and then you're like, okay.
No. I want because Butterbean rocks the USA trunks, man.
That is true.
And
Okay.
plus, I think fans know Butterbean more than Ngannou.
Yeah, but people are already turning on you here. Okay,
I don't care. Look, there's a theme here. We're going, and then from there, the three actual fights. All right, did anyone like the Butterbean fight at the beginning of a Don King card? No, we didn't. Or Top Rank, whoever used to have him out there all the time. No, but it was part of the show. It's part of our country. All right, and so I want each fight to have not just an in-ring rivalry, but represent an American fighter with a good chance to vanquish one of our historic foes in the world, in the world realm. So what country do we have the most beef with currently? Might be Canada, but I'm thinking in a more bigger picture. All right, we want to make a statement against Red China to open this show. And so there aren't a lot of meaningful active Chinese fighters, and Big Bang Zhang.
Please say
Well,
Zhu
so
Shiming.
so look, if you'll give me Zhou Shiming, I will take. I don't know if he's still around. All right, but if he is, I would love to have a squash match of him versus Bam. Rodriguez, like that would be incredible. If we could get Jesse
This is
Bam
the worst
Rodriguez
card ever.
to send Zhou Shiming to hell. All right, fantastic. Now, I thought that was maybe a little too far-fetched because we haven't seen Zhou Shiming in how long? All right, so for a slightly more realistic America versus China matchup, I want at 130 pounds, the super featherweight division, a prospect, right? Again, realistic because you start slow. Bruce Shushu Carrington going up to 130 to fight Can Zhu. You remember that guy? Crazy Chinese guy, very active. You can hit him a million times. He's going to come lay his balls out there, and you can tease the bag a little bit, have a little fun with the bag. He's going to be there and let you continue hitting the bag. So
who else puts their balls on the line?
Shushu to beat Can Zhu in my first fight and send China home packing. All right. Thank you for coming. You're out of here. All right.
This fight card is awful. I mean,
no, we're going to be chanting USA, USA throughout. All right.
They want Taishan Dong in the terror fight. I mean, come on.
All right. Our co-main, who is another long, important geopolitical rival of the United States? Well, it was Soviet Russia, the USSR. All right.
I know a little bit. Hold on. I know a little bit about those guys.
Jim, I gotta tell you something. Are these guys Russian or are they just in a hurry?
And this is a real fight. This is one that actually fight fans like me would want to watch. A great rising American star, one who we hope will be in a realer fight than the one he's got penciled in next on his schedule. Yes, Philly's own Jerome Boots Ennis fighting Serhiy Boachuk in the co-main. 154 pounds.
Okay.
All right. I want Boachuk isn't Russian. He's Ukrainian. But you know what? Ukraine's going to be part of Russia by the time this rolls around next year anyway. So we're going to have Boots. We are going to have Boots send this Russian to hell in the main stage. All right. But not too hard. We're going to let him down. We don't want to piss off our friends in Russia either, because they're going to be watching, and we don't want the leader to get in too much trouble with the other leader. All right. But still, for history's sake, we're going to vanquish this Russian, because this represents the Cold War, baby. Go on, Boots. Get him out of there.
Okay.
Finally, the main
Are
event.
you gonna have a band? Because little Java wants you to get the Springsteen cover band.
Look, that's a great idea. That's not exactly where I was headed, but Springsteen is very Americana.
Yeah.
However, it's also too sports writer, man. It's too Eric Raskin for me. It's too old, washed sports writer. Oh, I love Bruce. I've seen Bruce a million times. No, I can't name more than Born in the USA and maybe one other song. Fuck Bruce. All right, go back to New Jersey. But my main event. So again, heavyweight boxing, right? It's got to be big. This is America. We go big and we win. So we need heavyweights in the main event. And this is the 250th birthday of the United States of America. Well, who did we have to run out of our country to start this whole great experiment in the United States, the greatest country in the world? Yeah, we had to get rid of the redcoats. We had to send the blokes home packing. All right. And this is a heavyweight fight that a little far-fetched, but you know what? We talked about it last week. So it can't be that far-fetched. It's in the news these days. All right. I want America's last male gold medalist in the sport, Andre Ward, the son of God, to come out, God and the United States of America, getting exactly what he wants against EJ. We already saw Wembley was the birthplace of EJ. Well, the White House is going to be the graveyard for EJ.
Is it a rematch of 1776? Is this where you're going with this?
Yes, exactly. All right. And before we're going to turn the lights down, we're going to get all the lights out at the White House. We'll spotlight. We hear a horse's feet clapping. Boom, 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 boom.
Clydesdales.
The Budweiser clap.
Yeah,
Mike Tyson.
yeah.
I love Mike Tyson.
I love Mike Tyson.
Rides out on a Budweiser Clydesdale wearing a tricorn hat like Paul Revere, says, "The British are coming. The British are coming." All right. AJ got to walk to the ring after that, getting pelted with American Budweiser cans, all kinds of American flag paraphernalias, dildos, everything. Green dildos, red, white, and blue dildos, all the crypto dildos we could get. Caitlin Clark's going to be throwing dildos at his ass from across the Potomac, hitting bullseyes on that motherfucker. All right. So next. So we get that. As soon as Mike Tyson rides in on the Clydesdale with his tricorn hat, says, "The British are coming. The British are coming." Again, and we hear dun, 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 dun. We hear Cannabis's second round knockout with the Mike Tyson intro. And he's like, "Yo, Andre Ward, man, this is the Mike Tyson, man, son of God. Yo, it's time. You gotta do nothing but eat AJ." And then boom.
It's out of control.
Lights come on. We hear "Living in America." Ow. All right. Andre Ward being lowered to the ring in Apollo Creed's trunks from Rocky IV to the James Brown music. The brass is playing. James Brown hologram in the ring. Ha! Andre Ward coming down, dancing like he's Carl Weathers. And we have the all-American fight. Jelly Roll sings the national anthem. There's no British anthem on this day.
No.
We're just singing the Star Spangled Banner. Andre Ward goes to work. Son of God comes out victorious, and America wins in the end.
Wow. Wow. I don't even know how to I mean, luckily we just let you cook there. I don't even know where to go from that. I mean, you just I took this as like a serious assignment, and then you're like yo, let's make this the most American ever. Wow, that was great stuff. And you already know you got your supporters. Brody is a Canadian. He's like, yo, I'd pay for that shit. Okay. I mean, I really love the Tompkins, Bernstein, Campbell trio there. Do I get to do in-ring interviews, or are you going to get a chick?
I might have to hire Jim Gray over your head. That's the most realistic part of my card.
I don't think I can. Man, these guys have been hitting us with bangers in between your cooking right there. Deontay Wilder hologram kissing Deontay Wilder in the ring. I mean, that's just so good. Oh boy, yeah, that's great. This is great. Wow. Okay, mine's like traditional, and like it's gonna be so lame, but I was thinking about ring announcers, and look, I just need the classiest gentleman there is to try to keep this country classy. I gotta go Jimmy Lennon Jr., dude. He's like, once you work with that guy, you realize he's the nicest man ever birthed. You know what I mean? Just a true gem of a human being. And he still got it, does he not?
He does still got it, yeah.
Whereas your boy Buffer, like they might have to old yeller him soon. Jimmy still got it.
Look, we did it for our previous president. All right, we can juice him up for one night and have him perform.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Give him the Biden and the bottle that I mixed. Yeah,
the Biden cocktail. Yes.
Look, my announce team, I got to go Pro America. Who is the only play-by-play announcer who has ever called a fight on DAZN with Donald Trump Sr. and Jr.?
Snoop Dogg?
I'll give you a hint. He hails from Bay Minette, Alabama, and he still might be the best in the game at hitting the high note when it matters. Todd Grisham, I got to go with Grish, but he's got to wear like a suit with like cut off sleeves on it, and the tats flowing. Like we got to go like rock and roll on there. I'm going to go then for my analysts. I'm going to have a nice mix of serious and not. I'm going Andre Ward, arguably the best fight breakdowner in the game, and Rolando Rolly Romero for comic relief next to him, and to just see how that works. That's so America. I love it. And I'm going to insert myself into the ringside reporter role. Okay. You better believe that, where I get to interview the various members of the Trump family, including Ivanka, and then, see if that hashtag still works.
Risk it all.
Yeah, there we go. We'll get Joey Styles on commentary. Well done. I forgot about Todd Grisham's ex-wife's connection to the first. Yeah, there you go. Okay, there you go. Enough of that BS. My fights are pretty straightforward. My 4-round swing bout. Let's go big. Let's go ballsy. Let's go explosive. Let's go America's Deontay Wilder against Francis Ngannou. Oh, yeah. It will just be that palate cleanser to kick things off. Okay. No undercard here at all. There's too much of a security issue. So we're going straight to that. My opening bout on the 12 rounders, I'm going Iowa and Inoue against America's Jesse Bam Rodriguez. What do you think? Not enough true America in there?
No, absolutely. Look, I considered that exact fight for also just like to represent World War II, but I feel like we're sort of on better terms with Japan these days, and but no, that makes a lot. But I also wanted to set up fights where I felt pretty confident in the American fighter getting a victory, and that's true. Bam versus Inoue is just a pure 50-50 incredible fight.
I don't even know about 50-50 because Bam's still at 115 and Inoue's at 22. But I think it could be a great story of the Mexican-American born in San Antonio moving up to fight arguably the best fighter. Can he get it done? My co-main event is the best matchup that I still want to see, even though one of these guys is fighting YouTubers now. I'm going Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and you can't change my mind on that, okay? 2 Americans, right?
Yeah. I mean, a former Olympian and an American who's actually beloved by American sports fans.
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck. It's a great fight. Look. Yeah. This is just an awesome fight card.
Yeah. Well, now I wish I actually tied it to the Trump administration and made it a little more wild. In my main event, it's very easy. It's Canelo Alvarez against David Benavidez. It's the I think it's like still the biggest oh shit fight you can make in the sport, where it's like, oh shit, that's the realest of real fights. I have to see it, whether I know everything about him or just a little. It's the guy whose era it is against the guy who's the biggest badass we've seen in a long time, and it would finally solve the ducking issue right there. So that's what we're going on that. My opening band would probably have to be something truly America and rock and roll and whatever. But there you go. That's my shit right there. Good stuff all the way around. What else you got, Rafe? You got anything else going on in your life here? I mean,
well, I was just thinking that one reason I did not include, I didn't represent World War II in my card for that was because I figured the UFC card on the next day would probably have some Nazis on it.
That's a fair point. That would have that war all settled. We don't need that. Thank you. Maybe to honor Mussolini, we can get Paulie on commentary, right?
It's a little risky because he might actually just be like, actually, Mussolini wasn't all wrong. If you understand what he was saying in Italian, he has a real point. I mean, he made the trains run on time. All right, I'm from New York. Like the way we grew up in New York, sometimes the train ain't coming down all the way down in Gravesend. So, you're waiting down in Bay Ridge or whatever, the Bensonhurst, the train is a real pain in the ass. So if I had a mayor who could make the trains run in New York, I would vote for him too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well done right there. Also, you didn't get laid. Mussolini did. Okay. There you go. There it is. Great stuff, man. I need more sound bites. Question of the week comes from Poolside Bloke. We love this guy, JVD. He asks, do you think Kobe smashed Brandy at the prom? I mean, you have to wonder that if you're a human, right?
I guess you have to wonder. You also just have to assume yes. Kobe was known as a pretty prolific ladies' man, so to speak.
Was it consensual?
As far as I know.
Okay. All right. I mean, Colorado notwithstanding right there. Indeed. Good stuff, by the way. Hank Williams loves the Paulie impression, wants it to be part of the show. Long live Inside the Box. Rafe, do you feel like, all right, no more Colorado jokes. Thank you very much, Brody. We see you. Okay. We see you. Do you feel like boxing's in a good place, or it's just in the shitty place it always is?
It seems fine. I'm excited about Canelo and Bud Crawford. Like there's good fights on the way. Moses Itauma actually he looks that good. Like he looks like he could be a historical heavyweight. We need to queue up see what my man Richard Dwyer is saying about him. But I bet he's full of praise. He might already be declaring Itauma the BEST. All right. So
think Sugar Ray Robinson. Think Sugar Ray, the 90s alternative band. Think, exactly.
Think right Caleb Plant left hook.
Yes. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you. You know our boy Johnny Sig from Las Vegas.
Hell yes.
He's a big part of this cool thing they got going on in October in Vegas, where the 1989 mixed martial arts classic movie Best of the Best, starring Eric Roberts, Chris Penn, they're doing like a reunion Q&A seminar, like all this bit. So I'm going to be interviewing Eric Roberts later today, the legendary actor, brother of Julia fame. And dude, I rewatched Best of the Best this morning for really, I think it was the first time since the 90s when my dad and I went on a run, like most father-son combos, we good friends. I love your daddy, of just renting the most ridiculous kickboxer-esque movies that you can find. Dude, this movie holds up in all the whole awesome ways. And where does Ahmad Rashad get off being the play-by-play guy in this? Do you remember? When was the last time you saw Best of the Best?
Oh, probably about 5 years ago, but I had forgotten about Ahmad. Like that, you mentioned that, and I was like, oh shit, Ahmad Rashad is in that. I mean, I think of James Earl Jones, of course. I think of Chris Penn.
Did he lose a bet? Like, why was he in that movie?
What year was it? Was it before like the 89 NBA on NBC year? Yeah, it was before he really blew up as Michael Jordan's man and homeboy, you know.
No, but James Earl Jones was well established.
Well, that one is, yes, that part is, I don't know how they got James Earl Jones for that role, but it was, I mean, it elevates it. I mean, you get James Earl Jones in there and it's like, yeah, I'd run through a wall for that voice, right? I mean, I'd fight the eye patch Korean Taekwondo king like shit.
Dude, that the line of that movie is when Chris Penn is coming out of the bathroom with the cowboy hat on, and that chick's walking in, and he's like, "You going number 1 or number 2?" Fuck your ass. That was great. That was so good, man. I can't wait to watch Best of the Best 2. You've never gotten to 3 or 4, right?
I'm a purist. I like the first and the second. After, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but not everyone makes it out of number 2, and I couldn't stick with the franchise after that.
Oh wow, who does number 2 work for? Not the stars of the movie, apparently. So,
But
spoiler alert
Brackus is a good villain, man.
on that.
Brackus.
Is there a martial arts movie from that amazing era that we both grew up in that has your heart the most?
The most? I mean, my
Yeah.
favorite movie of all time is Bloodsport.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. USA. Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Good to know right there. All right. You didn't get into Cobra Kai in recent years, right?
I watched the first season and I enjoyed it, but I wasn't trying to like relive the whole thing.
Don't pull the Luke Thomas and say I refuse to follow the lives of teenagers.
I don't care. I mean, it's TV, man, and it's all trash.
All right. But Bloke chiming in already on Emma Roberts. Shout out to him. There you go, right there. Rafe, what can we expect out of you for the rest of this year? Salty box takes.
Yeah, I'd say that's mostly it. I'll be looking for lots of ways to pick Terrence Bud Crawford over Canelo Alvarez.
So you're still there right now. You're still there.
Why would I move?
I've come back to reality, and as much as I love me, Bud, and I love that backbone, people are riding on the idea that Canelo still doesn't have enough, or that he never was, or that having the best chin of the modern era is suddenly going to get him hurt against a welterweight. You know what I mean?
Look, I guess I'm not trying to take any credit away from Canelo in that regard. In fact, I have had, his career, his performances over the years have forced me to admit that I was very wrong all those years earlier on when I was like, man, he's being overhyped, blah, blah. He ain't all that. No, he's a great fighter. But you know what? I don't care at any stage in boxing history in their lives. At the same time, I think Terrence Crawford is better than him and will win a fight over him. That's all. One guy is, the BEST, the other guy is great.
It would be as Hank Williams IV says, a former 130 beating a 175 champion at one point in Canelo will be one of the biggest wins in TKO boxing history. Indeed, it very much will. I'm getting excited for that one. It's starting to come around. Great contribution here from Sydney Finkelstein. We appreciate you. Rafe, who wins Jared Big Baby Anderson against Richie Mustachio Torres? Dude, it kind of depends on the refereeing, doesn't it? Because if you allow Torres to do that like early Sean Porter bullshit where he takes the hand off and runs with all of his limbs out, then he might have a chance.
Also, I just go with Torres because I feel like Anderson is looking for a way out of the sport. He's probably happy to get a few paydays and I don't know exactly what he's got waiting for him on the other side in Toledo, but he's going to go find it.
All right. I think he's overhyped. I don't
agree.
hate the man. Okay. I don't hate the man. And also people wondering if that could be a White House front lawn curtain jerker. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, that's a good one. I like him a little more ridiculous than that.
All right. Will Turkey be on the South Lawn for the White House skinhead card?
Yeah, he got right. I mean, on that. Yes. Yeah. Ooh, I think so. Yes.
He'll probably have to pay for it, right?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they have to pay him for it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this world, but all we can do is one pot at a time to keep our sanity. All right, Rafe. Rafe, do you have I got a couple minutes to kill time with you, and our friendship deserves that. Do you have a 90s NBA team from one season that you could say is your favorite team of the 90s?
I've not thought hard about this. Let's go.
I think it's possible that you could produce this.
Yeah. There's some teams I really loved back in the day. Man, I guess I would go Was this 90? Was the Ray Allen Bucks? Was that 90s or early 2000s?
I mean, he did start in Milwaukee in 96, but
I'm talking about the
team
one
you're
that-
talking about is 01 when they made the conference finals, dude. They made the
Okay.
finals
Okay. Yeah.
with Cassell, Big Dog.
Mm-hmm,
I like that team too. Scott Williams up front.
Yeah. Wasn't
Tim
did
Thomas off
They
the
had
bench?
They have Irvin, not Magic
Irvin
Johnson playing
yes.
Playing center. Yeah.
I like that team. My favorite is actually, even though they're not 90s, the 2000 Blazers is my favorite team.
Oh, it was a fun one. Oh yeah.
They would have won if the refs didn't cheat them. You know that.
I don't know, man. That was a pretty difficult choke job to watch. But man, I love me some Arvidas and Smitty with the
And that deep ass bench with Detlef coming off.
Yeah, I mean, Jermaine O'Neal was playing well even by then. He was starting to come on.
Yep, indeed. Were you you didn't have a team growing up, did you? Were you a Knicks guy?
I mean, I was sort of into the Knicks, but not that hard, you know.
All right, you were more into like underground hip hop and.
I don't know why. It's weird. I guess even though I was playing like basketball was all I cared about at the time. But I think Jordan was so good that I couldn't couldn't kind of dislike him, even though he was destroying. He was just always sending my team or my city's team to hell.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm with you on that one. And it was a good day when that did happen. The Lakers against the Supersonics right there. Rafe, the box will roll on. We'll be back. Maybe next week. We'll see what happens. I mean, there won't be much to talk about, but we'll see what's going on. I'm going to get the guess who I'm interviewing tonight for the BCX channel. I'm pulling him out of retirement. James Foley.
Oh God.
What do you think? Jimmy Foley, come on.
It's exciting. I'm in touch with him. I'm aware of what's going on in his world, and it's always fun to listen to. So
we're gonna talk some.
He hasn't done boxing podcasting for years, for close to a decade, right?
But he has been doing doping from the beginning. And while I always give Eric Raskin and Billy Detloff of Ring Theory so much credit for having such an original pod and kind of like. Sometimes I feel like, my pod career was so inspired in a lot of ways by them. The Jim Foley and Beard pod was great, dude. Foley was my guy, right?
Yeah. I think I've mentioned this to you, but certainly the audience will appreciate the whole beginning of this thing of ours, Brian, that between me and you began basically when I listened to you go on their podcast, Patrick Connor and James Foley.
What was the name of it back then? Because they changed names a few times.
Don't know. Knuckles and Gloves.
That's what they changed it to. I keep forgetting. I'll have to ask him tonight. Right.
Yeah. But you went on the podcast with them, and the boxing stuff was good. It was excellent. I enjoyed that. But really, you went on one of your vintage Steven Seagal rants, just breaking down every film. Back to back. Yes. And it was, I was like, this is the most awesome. I love this. This is incredible. And I was like, I got to meet this guy. Like this is a guy I want to work with. And so, when I finally found you at a boxing event, I was like, yeah, we gotta team up. We gotta do some stuff. We both work for ESPN. I love your corporate daddy. Like, let's get it on. And it all started from there.
I appreciate that. That is the beginning of our love affair that continues to this day. A shout out to the Folo Punch. We'll be seeing him coming on. Rafe, we can find you at Rafe Bugs on the socials. And thank you so much for being a friend of the box. Buy your books there, wherever they buy them. And that's about it for this week. Okay.
Shout out to Omaha, Nebraska.
Indeed. We are out of here.